159 of This Week in Real Estate. The T-Wire podcast broadcast live Wednesday, January 10th, 2024. Consumers and agents are ditching housing. This episode was brought to you by viewers and listeners just like you. Thank you guys so much for the support. We actually have some big news that's coming up about our YouTube channel. But please take just a second and send this show to someone else that's in the industry that you think might benefit from this industry news. We are broadcasting live on YouTube. So if you want to comment, you can comment on YouTube and we can display the comment and I can talk about you, or I can talk about your comment, just like Dusty Martin. She said, "Happy Wednesday, y'all." Olivier is also in the comments, berating Matt LaMarche for not being in the comments today. And you could also join the show on Clubhouse. We're broadcasting live there as well. And you can actually add your voice to the show. All you do is raise your hand. If you have a profile filled out, the moderators will bring you up. And you can comment on any of the news articles that we're covering today live. So we do this show to have one place where you could go as a real estate professional, someone in the industry, to know everything that's happening, all the latest real estate news, what's important to you, so that you can better advise your friends, family, clients. It's the one place you can go for a professional, succinct analysis from those of us that are actually still in the game. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to jump in pretty quick today because we actually have a ton of news. But before we do, be sure to do all the YouTube-y things, subscribe, hit the bell so that you can be alerted of whenever we're going live and join us then. And this is our first broadcast as a YouTube partner. Yay! I needed a sound. Where's the sound? I don't have an applause. I just need an applause sound. We're just going to go with the air horn. Yay! So it's our first broadcast as a YouTube partner, which is exciting. That's exciting for a multitude of reasons. One, it means that we hit some marks on the number of subscribers. So we're over 6,000 subscribers, which is pretty crazy on YouTube. A lot of our listeners still listen on the podcast, the audio version of the show that's put out about 2 hours after this. Jack Atteridge says there's technical difficulties in the club, that it is spotty on Clubhouse. Yeah. So over the holidays, the other big news is I upgraded all of my internet. So now I have super fast 1 gigabyte fiber. So there should be no excuse for the audio going in and out on Clubhouse, other than it's got to be Clubhouse, because it's definitely not me. I'm going to do this for you, for the Clubhouse folks. I'm going to turn off cellular. Maybe it's something getting in the way there. I'm not sure. I have no clue. All right, we'll see if that helps a little bit. Does that help, Clubhouse? Can you hear? Hopefully. The little bar went away. So I guess it was trying to...
Sounds better.
So I had to turn off cellular, and it's now operating only through Wi-Fi. Huh. I mean, I do have fiber, so whoop, whoop. That should also fix some picture quality issues that we were having on the YouTube as well. The other cool stuff... Oh, wait, hang on. All right, there it is. So the other cool stuff on YouTube is that you guys will get to do the super chats or whatnot. I don't even know how it works. So you can test it. Feel free to test it out. I'm not sure how it works, but you could actually display your comment at the top and it sits there longer, which will draw my attention to it. I don't also know how it works on the restream that I use. So I see the chat over here in the restream. So we'll see. Yeah, it seems to be helping. Okay. Clubhouse is getting better. Okay, good. Well, thank you guys for joining the show. I'm going to jump right into the news. This is crazy. The president of NAR is blackmailed and resigns. No. Not the guy that left several months ago. The new one that just took over. Yes. Blackmailed and she resigns. So this news article is published everywhere. I'm looking at it on Inman right now. NAR President Tracy Kasper resigns, alleges blackmail. National Association of Realtors President Tracy Kasper resigned from her position Monday, effective immediately, following what she said was a threat of blackmail. Kevin Sears, who became NAR's president-elect in November, has stepped into the role of president. NAR said Kasper had informed the leadership team of a recently received threat to disclose past personal, non-financial matter unless she compromised her position at NAR. She refused to do so and instead reported the threat to law enforcement, compromised her position to NAR. So I guess somebody had some dirt on her and was saying like, hey, I'm going to release this unless you do this for me or unless you do this at NAR or something. Ms. Kasper felt that in the circumstances, it was best for the organization that she stepped down. Yeah. On December 18th, okay, I'm not going to go into all that stuff. It just kind of goes into more detail about some recent decisions that NAR made given leadership and who is or isn't eligible. But this is really interesting to me because as soon as she was named, I'm not, as a journalist, not going to say, but as soon as she was named, I got some DMs that were saying that's not going to last long. I know her, which is interesting. And I'm kind of, that wasn't a quote, that was a paraphrase, that it wasn't going to last long. They knew her, which I thought was, I guess it's something that happened in the past. Maybe she was in some leadership positions. I think she was team leaders or leaders of broker or something like that. So maybe it was something happened that somebody was threatening to disclose a past personal non-financial matter. Well, if it's a personal matter, does that go into workplace? I guess I would be absent of workplace. So it's nothing that happened in the workplace. But yeah, NAR is back in it. This is pretty terrible. I mean, it definitely gives NAR a black eye when Mike said, spill the tea. I'm not going to spill the tea. It definitely gives NAR a black eye at a time when we're facing lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff in the public persona. I don't know how much of the public even know that this is going to happen or this happened. I did see it on some major news outlets that were talking about it. I think it was CNBC had this as a main story. So we'll wait and see if there's any impact to us as real estate agents. But one thing's for sure, it doesn't help. Speaking of lawsuits, there's another new one. New UMPA lawsuit joins the Gibson in request for the nationwide commissions case. I'm going to put this, let me do the screen share. This report is on Broke Agent Media. They have a great website, which I'll show you in just a second, that's tracking all these commission lawsuits. But here it is. So lawyers in Missouri filed a new class action suit. Now, Missouri was the Sitzer-Burnett. That just was settled. Lawyers in Missouri filed a new class action lawsuit on behalf of U.S. home sellers on December 27, 2023. Defendants named in the UMPA lawsuit include the National Association of Realtors, more than a dozen brokerages. The suit also named several realtor associations. In addition, the complaint, the lawyers for both UMPA, UMPA, and Gibson filed a request to consolidate the two cases, along with 7 other copycat lawsuits filed in the wake of Sitzer-Burnett. So here we go again in the same state that they just lost. They're going to have to argue again. Here are the 7 other class action or 7 other cases listed in the consolidation request. Grace, Burton, Phillips, Martin, QJ Team, and Springway Center. Those are all over the country: San Francisco, South Carolina, Georgia, New York City, Texas, and Pennsylvania. Here's some defendants. There's some new ones listed: Home Services of America, Keller Williams, Compass, EXP, Redfin, Weichert Realtors, United Real Estate, Howard Hanna, Douglas Elliman, At World, The Real Brokerage, Realty, One Group, and HomeSmart. So it seems like just about everybody now has been named in one of these stupid things. And it's open season on real estate agents or the real estate commission suit. So the website that you can go to, if you go to Now Bam, they used to have a link on the side here, but it's gone. So I'm going to put this link in the description. I'll also just throw it in the chat real quick for you guys, for the live viewers. So there's the link, but you go to nowbam.com/industry. Actually, if you just Google industry lawsuit watch BAM, BAM, you will find it. But this is no longer highlighted on their sidebar. But the table of contents just has every single lawsuit that's currently happening. And there's the latest one. They also have a map that shows you lawsuits and where they are currently filed. So if it goes green, I guess it's more lawsuits. And if is gold, it's fewer lawsuits. Which that's an interesting color. I don't know why they chose that color scheme, but there you go. Okay. So we're back in hot water. I don't see any end in sight. I feel like this is just going to continue and continue and continue. At what point, I'm not sure how class actions work, but at what point does the judge say, oh, they've already been sued about all that stuff? Because if you think about it, if you're conspiring and there's let's say one person lists a house and everyone's conspiring for commissions on that one house, then that means everyone during that time period who loses the lawsuit has now been filed. That means during that time period, you can't be sued again because that time period has already been covered, right? You would think it wouldn't be per transaction. If it was, they would just lump every transaction, just like they did with the iPhone battery debacle. Every person that bought this or this type of phone during this period of time is compensated. I thought that's kind of how the class actions were supposed to work. So I'm curious to know when it will end. There's plenty of states that don't have any lawsuits currently. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lawsuits, or 8 states with lawsuits. So we've got 42 to go. The other thing that's happening, probably in part due to all the lawsuits and their impact. But there's a big question. Why is NAR losing so many members? NAR is this the first time? It fell by more than 17,000 members from November to December of 2023 and ended the year with a loss of 26,000 members, the first annual drop since 2012. Dun, dun, dun. I think those numbers are going to go up because in our area, everyone has until January 31st or end of January to renew. And they're not going to report you as dropped out until that date passes. So I think there will be even more reported in about a month. Broke Agent Media said it was a cumulative effect on challenging 2023 housing market. NAR raising its dues mid-year. NAR's weak defense of the Sitzer Burnett trial. And NAR's damaged reputation from the allegations of sexual harassment and the culture of fear, quote unquote. I think the biggest thing is that and I don't know why they didn't mention this. I don't think they mentioned it in the article. I don't see it. I think the biggest thing is the impact of the lawsuits allowing real estate brokerages to say, we are no longer forcing our agents to be members of NAR. And agents are seeing this and saying, well, I don't have to be a member of NAR in my state. I'm not going to do it. And I think they're not going to do it because they don't see any value to them because of all those things. But the biggest reason people are dropping out is because it's no longer forced in a lot of states. And in states like mine, it's not necessarily forced, but if you want to be on the MLS, you have to be in a board. And if you want to be in a board, you have to be a member of NAR. So there's a lot of states where that's no longer a thing, where you don't have to be a member of NAR to be in the MLS. And that's where NAR is losing agents by the dozens, hundreds, thousands.
Do you think that's greater than the number of agents getting out of the business?
Well, so Redfin pulled all theirs. That's a great question. Redfin pulled all their agents, right? Well, all the agents where it wasn't mandatory for them to join. That was a lot of agents. Coldwell Banker, Remax. Who else was it? There's one more that I'm missing. That's a ton of agents in the states where it's no longer required. So I'm betting that is more than the number of agents that have quit. Because you could also.
I wonder what happened in 2012.
You could also be in real estate,
right,
and not a realtor. So there's probably a lot of people that dropped that are still real estate agents, but are not realtors. I don't know how many people would drop out of being a
So
real estate agent completely.
in so many ways, in so many ways, the end result is anti-consumer. So we're, a bunch of agents are going to the code of ethics, and it's just it's mind blowing. And I will root most of the problems with NAR not in the lawsuit, but in the fact that they haven't had us on board for such a long time, because they haven't conveyed their benefit to us as the tradesmen of their trade organization.
Yeah. They've not done a good job communicating to consumers the value of a real estate agent. They've not created a tool that real estate agents and consumers can use. The best thing that I think they ever did was NAR RPR, which is a phenomenal reporting program that allows you to do comparative market analysis and data and all that. That's the best thing I think they've ever done. But they're not doing, anything for the consumer. There's no national MLS. So what's the value that they're going to run some ads for us for $50 million? I mean, the value is supposed to be that they help protect us.
Well, the problem is,
if it's like a union, they're supposed to be able to protect us and help us to get paid, and they didn't do that either.
Well, they might be doing a great job of that, but they're not letting us know. They might be doing other great things, but they're not letting us know.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Town meeting time.
Jack has been calling for this town hall for a long time. Dusty says, I don't know about any other state, but also in Arizona, it's the first time since 2012 that real estate has actually been difficult and had a market correction. 2012 was when the economy started the long haul out of the Great Recession's rock bottom. And it's been a seller's market in AZ ever since, except for 6 months last year when it was a balanced market, and the super luxury over 3 million went back to normal buyer's market. Yeah, the 2012 time period was a tough time for real estate agents because they would have had to hold on for so long. They were hanging on for so many years. And then by the time they got to that 2012, there were a lot that just kind of were like, okay, this is not turning up anytime soon. I'm out. And for that reason, I'm out. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on what's happening. Let me see if there was anything else in that article that I wanted to cover about the dip. Okay.
The other tragedy in this whole thing is, it is the way the media is talking about it and sensationalizing everything when they don't even get it. They don't get it.
Yeah.
That nobody gets it. And, well, half of our industry doesn't get it, let alone the media. And, $30 billion might be saved now that this has been exposed. What?
Yeah.
How's that going to work?
Yeah. I mean, I've only had a couple of consumers even ask me about the commissions lawsuits and stuff. No one has asked me about the president resigning. But I think as that stuff goes around more, it's just people are going to perceive the lack of value even more so than they did. We always had to go through and say, here's our value proposition. Here's what you're paying us for. But now it's just more difficult. And there's going to be a lot of agents that lack the skill to make that claim and get paid.
It's going to rely on the last mile, like it does, and the agent sitting down with their seller, explaining as to why it's in their best benefit to incentivize buyers agents and buyers, and and pay them, and for the real estate trade to do a better job of disclosing through their contracts consumer relationships and the way the compensation is, and I think that would have saved a lot of lawyers' billable hours if it were done before now.
Yeah, if only we were using documents that we should have been using, right? Matt Lamar says, don't forget to like and subscribe and rate the pod. Yeah, thanks for joining, Matt. And Matt says, why is there a wrench by my name? So, Matt, the contributor chat, did you check out the contributor chat? You may have missed it. Basically, the the wrench is by your name because you're a moderator. We're kind of testing it out a little bit. So we have moderators now on YouTube because we're a member of the partner thing. So we have to, yeah, he says, oh, wow. Good. Yeah. Yeah. So if somebody says something, you can kick them out. If you don't like it, watch out. Matt can totally kick you out. He can boot you from the whole show. Jack says he wants a wrench. Okay. Yeah. Well, so there's only been a couple of times where our podcast was, trolled. And one of them was the Couch Gang, which was hilarious. And we welcomed them in, which was shocking to the Couch Gang because they were like, what is happening? Why are these guys just chatting with us? But now if it happens again, all the moderators can kick out the Couch Gang. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the economy. We have a report from Redfin that says the rates are up and so are the buyers. So if you've been watching the rates, buyers have been super sensitive to rates, especially refis. And the rates have gone down a little bit lately, but they did tick up, but it didn't deter the buyers that are coming back to the market. So home buying demand shows early signs of a rebound following weeks of declining mortgage rates and increasing listings. So the leading indicators are the daily average fixed rate mortgage was 6.61% in the week. I guess it was ending December 27th. That's the lowest level since May, but it's up slightly from 6.5% year over year. The weekly average 30-year fixed rate is 6.67%. That's up from 6.27. And then the mortgage purchase applications, they're down 1% from a week earlier, up from 7% from a month earlier. So for the month comparison, it's still up, but it's down a week from the previous week. So you're showing a deceleration in mortgage applications, most likely due to that tick up. Let's see what if they don't have the refi activity on this report, but home buyer demand index, and this is Redfin's number. It's a measure of request of tours and other home buying services that Redfin has. So this is just a strictly Redfin number, but it is up 6% from the month earlier. But it is down 6% year over year. So we are basically the numbers show a current acceleration or even leveling off of that acceleration a little bit as the rates ticked up, but it is starting to accelerate a little bit, but we're still lower than what we were a year ago. Dusty Martin says, for new listeners, don't forget this is live. We welcome your witty banter in the comments and live chat, especially if you comment before Matt LaMarche each week. Matt says hello to our new 6,910 friends. Yeah, it's our subscriber count currently. All right, so back to this report. Metro level highlights. I don't see anything major here. let me show you share this tab instead. I want to show you the charts. I always love the charts. Redfin's got good charts. Okay, so this top one is the median sell price. It's plus 4.5% year over year. And you can see how the median sell price has gone up. 2023 is this orange number. 2022 is the red number. And so people who bought a home in, Yes, February, March, April, May. Wasn't it May or June of 2020 when Susie Orman came out and said, don't buy a house right now. You should wait until November, December when the market crashes? That's what she said. And you can see by this chart that not only was she wrong, but had you followed her track record, this number continues just to go up until this last year. So the median home price is continuing to increase. So Susie was super wrong. Not just wrong, but it's hard. You have to try to be that wrong statistically. But had you bought when I was telling you to buy in May and June of 2020, you'd be up about $100K if you bought the median home price. That is not bad. The other chart here shows the median asking price is up 5.1% year over year. And then home buyer housing payments, which we have another article covering that. The payments have actually dropped to the lowest level in nearly a year. So this was an interesting report too, also on Redfin. Housing market update, home buyers' monthly payments dropped to the lowest level in nearly a year, bringing back some house hunters. So this is the other thing that caused the buyers to kind of jump back into the markets. Yes, the rates have gone down a little bit, which also lowers that monthly payment. And also we're seeing a little bit more inventory starting to hit the market. But whenever you see that, a lower rate, more inventory, then you know buyers are going to be rushing back into the market because we're nowhere near meeting the amount of demand that we need. The median sales price right now is $363,371. That's 4% higher year over year, which we just talked about. That makes the median monthly mortgage payment $2,361 at that 6.61% rate. That's still 5.4% higher, but it's down 14% from the all-time high set during the 4 weeks ending October 22nd. So it's down $372 per month from the high that was set October of 2022. No, wait, that's October. Is that October 22 or October 22nd? That's October 22nd. It is the lowest level since February. Pending sales are at 552,552, which is down 3.3%. That's the smallest decline since January of 2022. So we are, Matt says he's setting a new alarm for the show. So we are off just a little, but this is all looking up for home buyers. So the big question is, why are so many people still renting? Well, there's also been a reprieve for renters. The renter's cost has dropped for the third straight month in December. We've been reporting before that. We were reporting on the excessive inventory in multifamily, and we were discussing how that inventory should lead to a higher vacancy rate. And I think 6 months ago, we talked about this coming, and we said that if you have investors that are looking to purchase investment properties, they need to moderate their anticipated returns on this type of property as well as short-term rentals. And that is exactly what has happened. So for our mid-year prediction specials, we were exactly right. Rents fall for the third straight month in December. The year-over-year change is negative 0.8%, so almost 1%. They were a little changed from the prior month. The reason the rents have cooled is economic uncertainty, slowing household formation, and affordability challenges as rents are still only 4% below their record high. High supply and more so than low demand is driving rent declines. So they're still in demand, but like we've been saying, there's so much inventory hitting the market that our vacancy rate is going up. So the vacancy rate is now up to 6.6% on average. It's the quarterly vacancy rate. Rents rise in the Midwest and Northeast and fall in the West and South. This is why people should watch the show. This is what we talked about 6 months ago. And here it is, as reported by the numbers. I have way too many tabs open. Bear with me. I'm going to close all these tabs. Wow, so many tabs. I put a lot of the articles in the tabs as we cover them, and then I forget to X the tab when I move on to the next article, which just is a tab nightmare. Okay.
I think I watch YouTube just to see your eyes wander all over your different screens. And we really need to see that behind the scenes video that you forgot to hit record on.
Yeah. That talks about how I find the articles, where we go to get the articles and all that. Yeah. Well, I'll definitely
by where your eyes are looking, I think I can tell where YouTube is, where Clubhouse is, where comments are.
Yeah. I got to figure out a way to show. I mean, I can display the whole screen, but it's just so in front of me. little BTS. In front of me is a 55-inch screen with those little the little bitty LEDs, whatever it's called. So it's a pretty detailed screen, but it's a 55-inch monitor. But what that allows me to do, though, is set a whole bunch of stuff over here and then set my articles over here. And so I can kind of click through and display the articles, and then I can still see most of the chats and everything happening. But it's like a whole dashboard of to-dos when I get to this stage in the show. So it's fun. And then I need a way.
It's an OUI checkpoint. You don't move your head, but your eyes just sort of wander all over the place.
That's right. Mike says it's like Minority Report. Yeah, for sure. You know, do y'all have the, what is it called? The Meta masks. So in February, Apple's releasing their virtual reality. So for Christmas, we got the virtual reality, but we got the Meta version. And I've been spending some time in that, just kind of looking at it. You can watch shows, you can watch YouTube in it. You can watch NBA and feel like you're courtside. And there's so much of, how that kind of takes over. You can actually display your computer screen with it. And it's very Minority Report. I mean, it is. You can even do hand signals, which was crazy. I didn't know you could do that until I couldn't find the little joystick. And I was, if you have the mask on, you can't see around you. So I was trying to go to where I could see through it without taking it off my head. And then I figured out that it was picking up where my hands are, and it would do the hand motions. I could do that and tap on something and push and pull. And I was amazed at how much Minority. So then I tried to put several screens up and really feel like the Minority Report. But wouldn't that be wild if one day this was, I don't know how this would be broadcast there. You just see articles over here in your space, and then you would have me over here. That could be rad. But then you lose the whole YouTube thing because you can't double stream. I don't know. But we are going to be doing some, because it was a business expense, we are going to be doing a lot of home tours with it. So I figured out how to film in 360. And so we're going to be doing some 360 home tours in 2024, which is cool. There were actually people that did it back in 2007, it was 7 years ago. It wasn't 2007. But there was a YouTube I found from 7 years ago where someone did a full 360 tour of an apartment, and you could walk around, and they had actors in there or maybe people on their team just kind of walking around the house. That was a little distracting, but it was really cool when they would show you the big empty room and you could just move your head and look around, and it was wild. So I figured out how to film it. I've got a 360 camera that's high enough quality that we're going to give it a go. Speaking of growth, that's more like team growth. But yes, Jack, I'm going to do that for sure. That is on my list. Before everything gets busy into the spring months, we're going to do that behind the scenes, I promise. All right, Case-Shiller Home Price Index marks the strongest national growth rate since 2022. In a recent report, the S&P Dow Jones indices unveiled the latest findings from the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller indices, offering a comprehensive snapshot of U.S. home prices for 2023. It found that despite the increase in mortgage rates, October saw the 9th consecutive month for home price gains. Year-over-year home price growth is at 4.8%. It's the annual change in 2023, marks an uptick from 4% observed in the previous month. Detroit led the pack, the fastest growing market with 8.1% annual gain. That just goes to show you what a couple of wins with the NFL can do, right? San Diego is the other one at 7.2%, and New York at 7.1%. Portland, however, reported a 0.6% decrease, remaining the sole city with lower prices compared to the previous year. The only city is Portland, where you could buy a home cheaper now than you could last year. I need to ask, where's Jen Mabry? You got to get her on here because she's in Portland. I'm going to ask her about that. A complete list of the 1 year changes from October is included on Broke Agent Media. And again, this is October 2023 compared to October of 2022. Atlanta had a 5.3% gain. Boston 6.6, Charlotte 6, Chicago 6.9. Cleveland 6.4, Dallas 1.2, Denver 1.6. What's the other big ones? Detroit was the 8.1. But the only negative was Portland. San Francisco, I was surprised to see, did go up 1.6%. The 10 city composite, the 10 biggest cities, had a 5.7% gain. The 20 city composite had a 4.9% gain, and the U.S. national is 4.8. So on the month-over-month home price trends, everyone was up. They didn't include Portland in that one, but everyone was up basically less than 1%. 0.6 was the highest, which was Miami, and New York was 0.5. Phoenix was 0.6. Everyone else was 0.2, 0.3. So yeah, home price is still going up. Affordability, still tough. I'm hearing lots of, I'm supposed to be on focus. Are y'all hearing those dings? I bet Clubhouse is. Sorry about that.
Yeah, we were right.
I was getting a lot of text messages all of a sudden. So the median sale price for U.S. homes saw the biggest jump in over a year. That was also mentioned on Fox Business, kind of the same article that we just covered. So I'm not going to go into that in detail. But the big question, and this is a question I have for you guys that are joining the show live, is the American dream of home ownership dead? Is the American dream now the American nightmare? Nearly a third of Gen Z live at home, while others struggle to afford rent. 31% of Gen Z live at home with a parent or a family member. 24% of renters in America say they can no longer afford their rent. 38% of renters are sacrificing necessities to pay rent, including older generations. So this report was in Credit Karma. They did a survey with, the survey was conducted online with the United States by Qualtrics, November 20th to November 26, 2023, among 1,249 U.S. adults over 18. So small sample size, but interesting findings. According to the recent study, 48% of Americans don't own a home, 36% rent, and 11% live at home with their parents or other family members. The percentage of people still living at home jumps to 31% when looking at Gen Z. Of those who currently rent, nearly a quarter, 24%, say they can't afford to pay their rent. The problem was most pronounced among millennials, 30% of them and 27% respectively for Gen Z. Wow. Only 10% of respondents aged 69 and above couldn't pay the rent. To make ends meet, 41% of Gen Z and millennials are sacrificing necessities. So the cost of housing casts a shadow. Nearly half of Americans, 46%, believe they will never be able to buy a home, which explains why 76% of respondents who do not currently own a home are not in the market for one. And that explains why the sales numbers were so low for the year. I mean, that's a huge gap in the market. Christina M. Smallhorn joins us. What's up, Christina? She said rent is wicked high for too many people. I hear it all the time in the comment section. Yeah. Especially, see, as soon as I started talking about affordability, Christina is here. She's a affordability home queen. Of the 24% of Americans who are currently in the market for a home, 59% say they are motivated to buy a home because rent is so high. However, with elevated interest rates, many are unsure if they'll be able to afford as much as they planned, 56%, or if they'll be able to afford a home at all, 48%. The quote from Courtney Alev, consumer financial advocate at Intuit Credit Karma. She said, the current housing market has many Americans making adjustments to the living situations, including relocating to less expensive cities and moving back with their families. What's most concerning is that rising housing costs aren't just impacting younger generations, but older generations. Our survey shows that more than half of Americans, 57%, allocate a majority of their income towards housing costs, leaving little room elsewhere in the budgets. In general, it is recommended that consumers allocate half of their income for essentials. 30% should go towards non-essentials, and then 20% should go towards financial goals such as saving for emergency fund, down payment of debt. If your housing costs exceed 50% of your budget, you might consider looking for other housing options. And I think this is probably the biggest thing that we're going to see is that people are in cities that they can't afford to pay the rent. And so they are going to move to different cities. During the pandy, we had a lot of people that were moving out of big cities, but not really changing zip codes. They were staying right around the same area, but they were making different decisions about their specific living situation due to crowding and what was shut down, what wasn't shut down. I think this affordability crisis is such a big deal that you're going to see people moving across country in some cases, moving back. There you go. Christine M. Smallhorn said, my daughter just moved back home because of rent costs and food costs. She couldn't do it anymore with going to college and working. And I'm not going to be surprised if we hear more renters that are also changing. We've seen in the last, 2.5, 3 years, a huge influx of people moving to my state because it is more affordable. And it's been the number one reason: more affordable, less taxes. And there's just, less people, lots of trees. And it's been attractive for a lot of people who are looking to buy a home, but it would not surprise me at all if you see even people that are looking to rent start changing their cities instead of just looking for a cheaper place in the city, getting out of that city completely and finding something else to do. Especially if they're currently in a job that's replicable elsewhere. The only problem is they might not get as paid as much. So interesting. That report is from Credit Karma, by the way. We'll have the link in the description. And mortgage demand jumps nearly 10% to start the year, even as interest rates tick up. So this report just came out today. Mortgage rates moved a little bit higher this last week for the second week in a row, but still remain at a range that consumers appear to like. The total mortgage application volume rose 9.9% last week compared with the previous week, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association seasonally adjusted index. An additional adjustment was made for the New Year's holiday. The average contract interest rate for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage with conforming loan balances of $726,200 or less increased to 6.81% from 6.7%. Applications to refi a home still jumped 19% from the previous week. We're 30% higher than the same week a year ago. Wow. Applications for a mortgage to purchase rose 6%, but we're still 16% lower than the same week a year ago. So refi volume is up and purchase applications are still down. Is there any interesting? No, there's not really an interesting quote in there. So this could be what is, people are saying that, they anticipate the rates are going to continue to go down. As a matter of fact, there was an article on Inman that said the economic outlook, where is this? Yeah, recession may be what drives rates down. If rates do continue to push down, even if it is a recession, you're going to see home prices still tick up. And it could be as much as 6% or more. In all previous recessions, except for 2, home prices increased 3 to 6%. Interest rates have a way of defying prediction. Bigger picture for 2024. Does the rapid slowdown in the economy mean the recession is now inevitable, or can it be a soft landing with a surge in unemployment? A soft landing for the economy as a whole might mean that the Fed doesn't start cutting rates until later this year, putting the mortgage rates on a gradual downward trajectory. That seems reasonable. I don't think we need a huge cut right now. I think, just a reasonable cut as necessary. They definitely cut way too fast in the past, which kind of put us in this bind that we're in now, especially with inventory and everything. NAR, which won't release the numbers for the final month of the year until January 19th, is predicting that existing home sales are likely going to be around 4.15 million for 2023 last year, which would represent an 18% drop from 2022. And that's what Olivier was saying in our contributor chat. Let me find that. Olivier said, he said, how slow is the housing here? The number of units sold in 2021 was 120,746. In 2022, 95,156. So already from 2021 to 2022, Olivier had a drop of 25,000 houses. 2023, 82,513. So from 2022, that's another 13,000. So a total of like 38,000 off from 2021. That's a huge number. He said that was back towards the 2017 levels, which were 87,000. And the population's gone up since then. That is wild. But it's not, I don't really think it's the lack of buyers in the States. Olivier, if you're there, chime in. I don't think it's the lack of buyers in the States. It's the lack of sellers. It's the lack of inventory that has really kind of put a stall on our housing numbers. Because we're still not seeing a huge number of expired listings or withdrawn listings on the market. We are seeing more than we did last year, but we're not seeing a huge number, which tells me that there's still buyers out there who are wanting to buy. Oh, he's on the phone. As soon as I start to talk about him, he's on the phone. So I just don't see, without a major change in inventory, I don't know that 2024 is going to be that much different. Even if rates go down, it's still going to be so hard for people to find a home and buy a home due to the inventory issue. Maybe that would lead more people to list their home. Maybe builders will start to see builders catch up to the market, but I just don't see a gigantic change in the supply side economics, which means that it's still going to be difficult for people to find a home. Maybe it'll be back up to the 2021 numbers, 2020 numbers, as far as the number of home sales go. But supply is a huge, huge problem. Well, that's it for the show today. So we had a lot that we went through, but we ran through it really, really quickly, which is good. I'm going to be trying to keep the show around this kind of, hour-ish time frame so that it just didn't draw out for everybody. There's some other updates that are coming, some other changes that we're going to make to the show, but I'm going to go real slow all year. So by the end of the year, all the changes will be in place, what I'm really excited about. We're just going to take it slow, one thing at a time. So this time was upgraded internet. I'm glad it worked. I'm glad it wasn't cutting out. Yesterday, it was cutting out on all the Zooms. Christina says she likes the long show personally. We'll have a few for you. I'm sure there's going to be some weeks where I just can't fit in all the news stories. It's going to go long. But I'm excited what's coming. Oh, Christine, did you see I'm in the partner program now? I got a different chat thing. The supers are on and all that stuff. It's the first week with that. And this is also the first week with fiber. Yesterday, I had several calls with my new fiber and it was cutting in and out. So it's kind of like what it was sounding like on Clubhouse a little bit. So I'm going to look into that a little more. I had to reset everything, reinstall everything. But it seemed to work. So thank you guys for joining us. You said, hold on. Okay, I'll hold on. You guys can follow me at Ray Zorback, RayZorback. So check me out on Instagram. Janice says, did I miss book club info? Thanks for mentioning that, Janice. No, you didn't. The book club is going to be Thursday at 1:00 Central. If you guys are interested in the book club, look at that. That's cool. A first super chat. So when I display it on Restream, it says super chat $1.99. That's very cool. Thank you, Christina. Thanks for the $2. I wonder what this looks like. Now I got to go see what it looks like. Hang on. This is cool. I want to see what it looks like. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's blue. It's highlighted blue on the YouTube. I guess for me to I can see the super that was sent in the chat, which is good. So then I have to look for your next comment or something like that, I guess. I don't know. Well, that's cool. Thank you. But anyway, the book club, I'm announcing all the books for 2024 tomorrow. So it'll be, oh, look, when you send the sticker, it just describes the sticker in text. Restream IO is like smiling face with sunglasses. Thank you. But tomorrow we're announcing all the books for 2024. We've got 8 books. I'm super excited about them. You want me to show you? I should show you. Sneak peek. All right, sneak peek, guys. Sneak peek of all the books. Here they are. You ready? Here they are. Sneak peek of the books that we're announcing tomorrow. I'm super excited about them. They're really good books. Some of them are real estate related, but most of them are just business books. And then we have 2 that are real heavy on mindset and 1 that is just phenomenal on living life and work. So there you go. If you want more information on that, send me a DM over on Instagram. It's open to anyone. Anyone can join the book club. And all that's required of you is that you just kind of show up, participate. So, all right. Well, thanks guys for joining us. I will see you next week.